That way I don't forget to push record like I always do.
Oh yeah, I totally get it. Totally.
I haven't done a remote. I haven't done a remote one, so I don't know. This is
Okay.
like the Zencaster and all this is like it's all new to me.
Yeah, this is all I've done. So.
Oh really? I've been
Yeah.
dreading it. I'm like I got a P4 and I'm like I just bring everybody in. But
Okay.
I don't know. Everyone gets all nervous. I get talking to everyone around here and they don't want anything to do with it.
People are funny, man. Like I tell people all the time about video. I'm like, you just kind of get used to it, and I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. So
yeah, they're like, what am I going to say? Like, you don't say anything if you don't want to. Like, I think
just
you know what
conversation.
That's going to go. I think later on here we'll talk like about people listening and like wanting help and then not wanting to like do what they need to do. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'll see shop owners all the time complain about, the cost of this and the cost of that, but they won't do something like free social media marketing. Like you don't have to pay anything to do video or any sort of social media. And It's like, it can all be free, but they just want to complain sometimes, and that's frustrating. So.
Yeah. I guess we got to start talking about, wiping our parents' behinds, right? Does that take you back?
Yes, it does.
I don't know what happened there. I was like, are we gonna listen to anything like of substance here? Like, David, where are you going with this thing right now?
I don't know how he derails so many. Like I listened to the podcast I just recorded with him. I know. I'm like, what are we talking about? Come on, get back on topic.
I guess it is. I mean, for me, when we're talking about marriage and stuff, is like, because my wife runs the office.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, we're married and she runs the office. We got another service advisor with her. So it works out. It works for us,
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess so when you talk about marriage, you're married to your shop and it's like, might as well have your wife in the front too.
Yeah.
Might as well.
If it works. I mean, my wife helps me with stuff around the shop. I mean, she is an employee, but it's usually like behind the scenes stuff. She doesn't work like out in the shop with me. She's doing a lot
man,
of
how do you do
stuff.
everything yourself? There's no way.
It's hard.
Yeah. Well, if you'd even have like the little bit of help, it's like just one more thing you got to deal with or manage. True. I don't know. Yeah. It's just a lot to deal with.
It is. I tell people to prepare themselves when they want to start a shop. I'm like, it's a lot more than you could ever imagine. Like you think you know, and you have no clue.
Yeah. I mean, let's get into that because I think everyone's got a different path. And that's like the reason I even started doing these podcasts is hearing how people got to where they are. I, in a sense, kind of fell into it in a way, I guess. I don't know. I just didn't see any other option. I was so closed-minded. I was like, I have to do this, and this is the only way. I grew up in a really kind of ran down shop, not really, really well managed. And I was like, I know I can take this place and make it better. And then it became like, I have to do that. Yeah. I have to take this shop and like make it better now. And there's no other option for me. I never worked at a dealership. It was always just, a grease monkey is what you could call it. We were as close to that as you walk in the shop, there's rags all over the floor. It's like you rack up a car and do something and then you pull it back out. And then it's like, oh, hey, did you check this? It's like, oh my God, really? 2 or 3 times a day you'd be dealing with this. Like, there's gotta be a better way, man. Like this is crazy. And
that would drive me nuts.
And I didn't think there was any other option. I was like, this is just how all shops are. This is just how all mechanics are. And I thought we were the best too. Cause we were like, we were just so motivated and it was like, oh, we're trying our hardest. So that means we're the best. Right?
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot different than me. I actually went to UTI. And then after graduating from UTI, I couldn't find a job anywhere. No one wanted to hire me because I didn't have any experience. So I was making more money working for a hotel. And then I transferred to another job after the hotel and worked there and was making really good money. And then all the shops wanted to hire me for next to nothing. And I was like, I just paid $30,000 to go to school. And you guys want to start me off at this? And I'm making almost double that working for a hotel. Yeah, I think not. So, I did eventually find a job. I went to Napa and then that led me to the job, my first independent shop that I worked at. And, but it was nothing like that. Like it wasn't a clean shop, but it also wasn't like he was very, very picky and liked things a certain way. And so I didn't really work at any like really trashy shops. I worked at one a short period of time, but I wouldn't say it was trashy. It wasn't like super clean or anything. But
I don't know. At the time, it's like if you don't know the difference,
yeah,
it's
like
like,
if you don't know, you don't know. I
and
mean,
you
some
just
people
assume
don't.
like, yeah, you work in a kitchen and there's like, you know, knives being left around and they just wipe the countertops and they've never cleaned the stove or the hood. You know, it's like, well,
Right.
this is what they do. And then a county inspector comes in and they're like, when's the last time you cleaned that hood? It's like, why do we clean that? I've never been told, you know, like you just don't know. You're
Right.
just so
Yeah.
ignorant. And it's like, and then you're just set in your way. And I can just see
Yep.
that manufacturing for 15 or 20 years. And you get these old burnout, you know, shop owners that are text to shop owners. And that's their mindset. Like, why do I need to do that? Why do I need to do that? I haven't done that in 20 years and it hasn't made a difference to me.
Yep.
So it's amazing how the divide, you know, and then
Yeah.
clients go to these shops and they see them ran like that, then they get that impression. This is how all shops are. They're dirty, they're greasy. They just throw parts at till the problem's fixed and then see ya.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I've said that a bunch. Like customers a lot of time think it's normal for a shop to throw multiple parts on a car and then they couldn't figure it out and they think that's normal. Like I've gotten several clients that way where they're like, oh, well, they tried this and that and it didn't fix the problem. So they said they couldn't fix it. So they told me to take it somewhere else. And like, totally fine with it. I'm like, you know, that's not normal, right? Like,
well, they tried really hard though. And they're such a nice guy. And then they give me a big discount. So that's really nice. Like, what? Everything you just said. What are you talking about? Like the discount, it shouldn't even be a price because they didn't fix the problem.
Yep. That's exactly true. Yeah. It's crazy.
You're probably deal with the same stuff I do. I get a lot of referrals from other shops in the area. And it's the same situation. Well, I've already spent $500. Like, is it really going to be another $600? It's like, well, that has nothing to do with me. I know like they referred you to me, but that ain't got nothing to do with my bill. You can go talk to them about getting your money back if you want. No, I don't want to do that. They're just such a nice guy. And they tried really hard. And it's like, that's the same mentality though we have when we start shops though. Like if you just work really hard, you take everything in, you're going to be successful. Just be the best guy. And your specialty in Honda, right?
Yeah. Yep.
From what I picked up. Okay.
Yep.
So I guess we have
Hondas.
Yeah, I guess we kind of have that in a similar sense where I specialize in transmissions. So
okay, cool.
I mean, and I don't know if I'd call it a specialty so much anymore as more of a marketing ploy. It's what I grew up doing. And it's like, but do I sit back and rebuild transmissions anymore? No, there's no money in it, you know?
Yeah.
But that specialty aspect of it is that's what brings in is like, okay, if you're the Honda specialist, that's where you're going to get a lot of the Hondas and get the repeat stuff going on.
Right.
You know, I don't know if it makes it easier or harder.
For me, I feel like it helps me, like because I do really well as far as numbers for the size of my shop, and it's a 1-bay shop with 10.5-foot ceiling, so it's a small shop, and I've been able to do well, but that's because of the efficiency factor of it, and I've always just been really efficient as far as because I was flat rate for a really long time. I averaged a lot of hours when I was at the dealership. So it's kind of been a strong suit of mine. So I feel like it helps me, but you do get those cars like a lot where, hey, I've taken this to all the Honda dealerships in the area and they couldn't figure it out. So someone referred me to you. So then you're taking on some of those problems that, you know, nobody else in the area, but usually they're not.
I got that too.
Yeah. It's not too bad most of the time because it's Hondas, right? Like they don't get a lot of those like wild, crazy issues most of the time. I shouldn't say never, but most of the time they don't get too crazy like some of these other manufacturers. So they still break. They just don't break like some of them do.
Well, and you probably got to the point where you see certain stuff and you've got a pretty good grasp on the next test you need to perform to condemn whatever the part is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the same with transmissions. Helps. It's like if the transmission doesn't go into driver reverse, it needs to come out. You know, there's not a shift solenoid and I'm sure doing Hondas, you know, the Honda automatic transmissions is like, it's probably junk.
Yep.
A 1998 Honda Accord and it's revving up in third gear. It's probably garbage.
Yep. And it's probably its third transmission. So.
Yeah. So on that aspect, it makes it easy, but it's the same thing where people see transmission shop and other shops, even if it's got a transmission code, it's coming here. They just say, I don't want to deal with it. And they'll throw a couple shift solenoids in it. Like, oh, well, we can try this. I don't know if it's going to fix your problem. And then then the client's spending $600 for shift solenoids. And it's like, how do you take that in and tell the client, they didn't rip you off, but they ripped you off. There's no reason in the world, once they dropped the pen and saw the amount of materials in there, that anyone should have been putting shift solenoids in it, let alone a qualified shop, And it's like, well, they were just trying, they tried their best. And they told me that it might not fix it. It's like, that's the standard? And now you're here mad at me because you already spent all this money? I don't know.
It's wild, man.
Yeah, it is.
My brother has a Tundra, and the dealership told him he needed a transmission, and I was just like, I had test driven it, and I'm no expert in transmissions whatsoever. Never had a desire, so I was like, but after looking at it and looking at the codes and following the flow chart, I was like, man, I said, I really think this is solenoids, and I said, I would just take it to an actual transmission shop. And I said, you need an actual diagnosis. I said, I promise you the dealership did not diagnose it. They just told you need a transmission. So he took it to a transmission shop, and that's what it ended up being. One of the solenoids was bad in the valve body. And it was like the dealership, I think, quoted him like $6,000 for a new transmission, which this has been a while ago. So that back nowadays, that sounds cheap to me.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
He took it to the other place. It was like $600 to replace the solenoids, and come to find out the truck had already had, this would have been the third transmission in it, and it's a 2010 Tundra. It's not like they're got transmissions going bad on them left and right. And so it was the whole thing was weird. So I don't know what the first two transmissions were for. Have no idea. And this would have been the third. And I'm like, dude, just go get it diagnosed.
Those ones have a flash for the PCM too. And they do weird stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. I've dealt with the AB60E, might be the 750, but either way. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing though. You get the same one with misfires too, right? Mm-hmm. So it's misfire and a transmission slipping. Like I'm sure how many times you heard that, right? And so then it comes from another shop, and they're like, "Oh, they said it has a transmission problem." It's like, this thing's misfire, and you go to the misfire counter, it's like, it's right there. Like, look, you can see it. It's like telling you, like, okay, well, they told me it needed a transmission. That's why they sent me here. Like, no, you needed a set of spark plugs and some coils, and call it a day.
That's why I had a guy recently, great customer of mine. He was like, "Hey, my transmission stopped shifting, this, that, and the other." And then I was like, well, we need to diagnose it. I'm like, he wanted me to price out a transmission. And I'm like, dude, I said, there's no point in me pricing out a transmission, but we need to diagnose it. So he just kept pushing it. I'm like, well, listen, it's not going to be worth it for me to do it. I said, it was a 06 TL. I'm like, there's a good local transmission rebuilder here. I'm like, take it to them. You'll get a good warranty with it. They'll rebuild it. It's going to be way cheaper than me putting a reman in it. Like, I don't like turning away work, but it's an 06 TL, right? With over 200,000 miles on it. Like a good car, but not worth, probably $6,000, $7,000 in a reman. So He takes it to the other shop, and he's like, oh, great news. It didn't need a transmission. It just needed an alternator. And I'm like, this is why I told you to bring it for a diagnosis. Like, come on. Like, it's just so frustrating to me. So,
yeah. Then you turned away gravy work.
Yep.
Because they just won't listen to you.
Yep. And he's a great customer too. It happens sometimes. Like, he's been a fantastic client. And so it is what it is. You just learn from it and move on.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't imagine running the show like you do and then being able to manage that many clients and not be somewhat short with them, you got to turn some stuff away because that's the name of the game. I mean, you have to. You can't take everything in. And
I don't take big jobs. It's pretty rare for me. Like, unless it's on a Honda, I don't do any sort of like large. I turn down like EcoBoost and 5.4 timing chains almost a couple of months because I get those calls constantly, and I'm like, no, I have no interest. No, thank you. Like, it'll tie up my bay forever. The ceilings are short, so lifting them things up and down is already difficult as it is. I'm like, not worth it. I got plenty of other.
You got work. Yeah.
Yep. So it's just not worth it.
I got a classic car division, and it's one of the things I have a hard time managing and keeping, I guess, to be blunt about it. It's tough because sometimes it's easy. You do disc brake conversion on a 65 Mustang. That's easy money. Easy, and then it just goes on from there and there and there. I just did an LS swap on a 65 Pontiac Tempest, And it's like, I'm not doing that again. I don't even know how like a year later, like, how did I end up doing this? Like, I don't understand. Like, this is not what I should be doing. Right. And
Yeah.
so the slope is just like, damn, it's steep. It just all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'll do it. And this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden you're doing this full on, restoration on this car. Like, hey, can you throw carpet in it too? Cause I was putting a floor shifter in it. Like, oh yeah, I can do carpet. I might as well have everything out. And wait a second here. So yeah, it's, why am I doing this when I got lined up, easy
Yep.
gravy workout in the parking lot, So
Yeah.
the classic cars, and I know a lot of people are against it, like nothing older than 1990 even, and so I don't know. It's
That's
tough.
even too old for me. I'm
Yeah.
20 years. I don't do anything over 20 years unless it's a really good client. I have like 2 or 3 that are older than 20 years.
So what's your thought process behind it, and how do you kind of hold your line? Because that's tough for me. It's especially when it's a good client, and it's like, and you're a talented individual. You could take that car on, you could fix it, you could make money on it, right? So how do you talk yourself out of that?
I just know that there's other work. So I always explain things, especially to new shop owners, because we can trick ourselves into thinking all money is good money.
Yeah, that's very true.
So the thing is you think just because you have that revenue coming in that it's good money, but you're taking the place of someone else that has a vehicle that fits into your policies, that's willing to pay you the same money, but you're more efficient. You can find parts. You're not trying to search around all over the place. It's not as rusty. It's not as beat up. It's not as old. So there's a better car to be in its spot, and you're taking that place up for that better car or that client. Now, if it's a good client, like I said, I will work on it, but I explain to them that exact situation. I explain that, parts are harder to find. It's an older vehicle, so they can be more difficult. It's going to cost you more money. And I'm going to need time with it. I'm not just going to fill it in like every other car, because I try to turn them around same day. It doesn't always work, but most cars I finish same day. And, so I just give them clear expectations up front, and it's worked out really well for me. So I've gotten really good at saying no. And I feel like in the beginning stages, especially as a one-person shop owner, you have to be able to say no, because if not, you want to try to be everybody's hero, and you just can't. It ends up, that's how I started the business off, and I was doing a horrible job. And you're trying to ramsack every single car you can get through the door because you think you need, car count, and it's rarely ever car count. It's usually you're not charging appropriately and having good parts margins and all of those things. So, which is why you'll hear me preach that stuff till the day I die, because it's what I didn't know early on in the business, and it's what I learned. It's what changed my business and turned it around. So,
and that's another good point to bring up too, is like, for me, looking from, I guess you call myself a tech to owner, I was always looking for the silver bullet.
mm-hmm.
I wasn't looking for gold nuggets. I was looking for, like, how do I fix this? And you start listening to all the podcasts, you start listening to everything, following all the people online. And, I mean, that was my journey. Like, you just start, like, and as soon as you start hearing something that makes sense, and I guess for me, I started on the wrong side of it. So I knew that everything that was wrong. So it's like, as long as I don't keep doing it that way, it's got to get better. And then you start hearing people say things as like, that's the opposite of what is being conducted in the shop. Is like, that's what I need to be doing. That makes sense. So it was such an easy buy-in for me to, like, start following these paths, like Cecil with the Institute, like that. I like what they're talking about. Like, you don't have to sell me. I already understand that. What was was there like a silver bullet that you ever found, or like, how did that process start going for you along the way, for like going from a tech to an owner?
It wasn't a silver bullet. I mean, I was running everything completely wrong in the beginning. The one thing I was doing well, which I feel like almost all, if not all technicians do well, is I was taking care of the client and fixing cars. But as far as the business side of things, I mean, I was literally doing everything wrong, essentially. And, I was following Cody Gaddy on YouTube, and he was on the ASOG podcast. That's how I got connected with everything, because I had no idea any of this stuff existed. I had no idea ASOG existed. I had no idea there was a bunch of shop owners online. I had no idea that there was training events, nothing. I was literally in my own little world, just the shops and the dealerships that I worked at and the people that I knew. That was like my world. Didn't even ever think of anything outside of that.
I hear that.
But what I found is I started trying to understand the numbers. I didn't understand them, but I at least started looking at them because I'm like, well, I need to figure out like how much money do I need to make? How much are my bills? Where do we need to go? Because my aspirations have always been from the very beginning that I want to grow the shop and get to the point where I don't have to be here every day. Like I still want to be involved, but if I want to go take a vacation, I don't want the business solely rely on me because obviously if I take a vacation, there's no revenue coming in. So that's always been my goal. So I was digging into my numbers and I realized like I had a conversation with my wife. I'm like, what we're charging now and what we're making will never be able to hire anybody and not pay them well. Like that, I knew from the beginning going from tech to owner, and it was all fresh for me. I wanted to pay techs well because I felt that I always deserved to be paid well because I was making the companies really good money. And at that time, I didn't understand all the costs associated with being a shop owner. So, normal tech, like, especially the whole conversation about like half. That's stupid and absurd.
Well, it sounds good when you're on the other side.
Yeah, when you're on the other side, it sounds great. But when you become a business owner, not even just a shop owner, but a business owner in general, you start to see all the costs associated and you understand why. But all that being said, I knew I could still pay techs well. I just had to change some things and start turning that around. And then so once I found the ASAW group and then went to ASTE was when it really started changing for me. And then I won the scholarship for vision. And so when I went to ASTE, I took some tech classes, which was a mistake for me. I should have just taken all
I did the same
classes.
thing. Yeah. Not a vision, but at Apex. I was like, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the best. And I did ATRA. So I was like, I'm going to be the best transmission builder. And if I build the best transmissions, like everybody will come to me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was at AST and I was introduced to Rick White. And so I was talking to him. He's like, are you coming to my service advisor class? And I was like, no, I'm signed up for some sort of tech class. And he was like, I encourage you to come to my class. And he's like, just check it out and see if you like it. So I went to his class and loved it and learned a massive amount. And so that's kind of what started getting the ball rolling was after taking his class. That kind of got my wheels turning. And then when I won the vision scholarship, that, you have to take all management training, which was the best thing ever for me because I didn't realize all of these management trainings were there. I was so focused on the tech training when I went to ASTE that I didn't even look at half the management training. So then once I took the management training, that was when everything flipped for me and I started changing a ton of stuff. And we were able to double our gross revenue from year 1 to year 3, which has been fantastic. And the business has been growing since the beginning. We started a month before COVID. So February of 2020 is when we started. And we've grown since day one.
That's awesome.
So that's been fantastic. Yeah.
But
I don't attribute a lot of that to myself, besides the grit and the hard work. As far as learning all this stuff has been, listening and learning from everyone else. So.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of little things that slowly, for me, very slowly add up over time.
It is time management. Like a lot of people don't know time management makes such a big difference, especially if you're a small shop. It's so pivotal. I mean, obviously it's important for bigger shops, but you have more manpower. For small shops, time management's huge. And so like when I first heard that I shouldn't be scheduling cars in the afternoon and I should schedule all my cars in the morning, like it made so much sense. I was like mind boggled of why I hadn't done that before, because I was scheduling cars in the morning and then having cars scheduled in the middle of the day and then late in the day. So I'd have to pull cars in and out constantly, and you're juggling and trying, okay, well, I can't start this job because I have this appointment coming in. So you'd stand around for 45 minutes waiting for your next appointment because you knew you couldn't finish the job on the lift because you only have one lift. So it was just horrible. So once I started changing some of that stuff, and now all of my cars are 99% of my customers are drop off. They all drop off night before or morning of. And so I do everything in the morning as far as inspections, get the estimates sent over before lunch, like early morning or late morning, I guess. And then by lunchtime, I have most of my approvals back and I can start ordering parts and get the jobs done.
Yeah.
And in the early stages, it wasn't like that, right? I was just all over the place. It was terrible.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing an appointment, like by appointment like that, and waiting for something to come in the afternoon. That's
so bad.
That sounds
So
terrible.
Well, I was accommodating the customer, right? Like that's what I thought in my mind. Like, oh, I got to do what's convenient for them, like letting them, and they don't know, like they're just setting times. Like,
right.
If you give them the opportunity, they're going to do whatever most convenient for their schedule, and they're not doing it on purpose, like against you. They're just like, oh yeah, this is what's best for me.
But in your mind, you're giving them a bunch of quality because that's something the dealer would never do. The dealer wouldn't do this, so I'm going to do it, and I'll be better than the dealer, right?
Oh, shoot. Yep. So you think you're doing what's best for them, and it's not. It's actually worse because you're not providing as good of quality of service. So.
Right. The client before now has to wait till the next day because you didn't get it finished. Now you got to wait for the next guy. It's like, oh, what a fiasco. I did smogs like right out of high school, got my smog license. And again, that was probably one of the things that converted me to doing it a different way, because having 30 smogs come in a day was like horrendous. I just never wanted that many people in a waiting room that I was a part of ever again. It's like,
that sounds terrible.
No more rating. Like this is like 2015. I'm like, if I ever ran a shop, I would never have a waiting room. I'm not gonna like.
I love not having a waiting room.
And to this day, I have 2 chairs. Is like, and that's just for waiting for your ride. Like when we're redesigning our office and our waiting room, it was like, no, we're not having We're gonna have a big desk, and we're not gonna have a waiting room because it just doesn't work. And then the clients that come in that wait, they end up not working out for you anyway. Because if you're doing a good inspection, there shouldn't be. The car should be waiting till the next day anyway, or they're going to pick it up and bring it back. So either way, there should not be a bunch of repairs done, by the end of the day. I know you probably run it a little differently, but that's just how we run and how in my mind, if it comes in, it's either staying till the next day or they're going to be picking it up before noon to reschedule for the amount of stuff that we found.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way.
That's what I tell people why they can't wait. I'm like, I do an inspection. If I find stuff, you're not going to want to wait around, especially if it's safety or any of that, the drill. And so I use that as my pitch to new customers and stuff that want to wait. And I'm like, I just explain all those things and kind of go into it. I'm just like, it's best if you don't. It gives me time with the vehicle. I can do a better job. All that. And it works. Like I convert a lot of new clients that way, which is good. Not all of them. I mean, not as many as I would like, but I'm getting better and better. The more service advisor training I take helps me. And then obviously the more practice I take or the practice I get talking to customers and working through it and stuff helps as well.
And what's your plan for moving forward with I know some guys like to kind of run it and not have to worry about employees, worry about techs. Is that kind of where you're at?
No, I want the people problems, as they say. So I would rather manage people than manage the problems I manage now. And I know that's not the norm, but I've always enjoyed people. My wife and I have always helped out with the youth at our church. I've always been drawn to leadership and such. So for me, yes, I know it's not going to be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park, but I'm looking forward to those.
No, I'm on the page with you for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of my mindset as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you're good at it, and I feel like anybody can eventually be good at it as long as they're open-minded enough to admit that they don't know everything. And you're willing to grow and become a better leader, be a better delegator, all of those things, it will help create a good culture. It'll help be able to, again, delegate and lead those people, which in turn is better for them and it's better for you. It puts a good structure in place. Obviously, this is me talking from I've been manager at other businesses, but they weren't mine. So I've had several
you're wearing so many hats that you're managing yourself. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You have this job you got to go do, and then you got to go do this job, and then you got to go fix the car, and then you got to be like, okay, don't be frustrated, because then if the car frustrates you, you can't let that translate over to the client.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, absolutely.
And so you got to put that other hat on. Repair went fantastic. Meanwhile, there's they're hands are bleeding and all your tools are scattered everywhere because it just kicked your ass. You're
100%, 100%. I
Yeah.
used to be so bad at that. I would answer the phone so frustrated. So
Right.
in one of the training classes, they talked about that, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. Never ever even dawned on me. And when they said that, it was like a brick. I got smacked in the face with a brick or something. Like, oh my gosh, this is 100% me. So now I trick myself into thinking every customer on the other end of the phone is a Honda. So, because I still am passionate about Hondas. I always have been from the beginning. I love working on them still. I still love working on cars. I don't want to do it forever, like as far as be in the bay and wrenching all the time. But I have a feeling like even as I hire employees and stuff, I'll still come out and wrench every now and again and stuff, just kind of here and there, just to kind of get my hands dirty every now and again.
Yeah, you won't be able to stay away from it.
Yeah,
Not because they need you, but because you won't be able to stay away from it.
yeah, that's kind of what I figure. I hear that a
You're
lot.
sitting in your office like, I gotta go freaking do something right now.
Yes,
I'm gonna lose
yes.
my mind.
Very much so.
That's
Yeah, so
how we like express ourselves. We get out there and that's how we de-stress. You take
Yep.
something apart and put it together. Like, oh, I feel so much better now.
Absolutely love it, man. I tell people there's nothing like taking a car that comes in, or anything for that matter, taking it apart, fixing it all up, and getting it back running again. Like I bought this lawnmower, and it's been just like I bought it to flip, and it's turned into like a personal fun project. Like I tore it all down, cleaned it all up. Like I'm like, it's like an old John Deere. And I was like, I was going to sell it, and now I want to keep it because it's been a fun project and I haven't done anything like that. I'm like, man, this thing's really nice. Like there's just nothing like that to me. There's nothing like that feeling of the benefit of fixing something and driving it and
sense
using
of purpose.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sense of purpose and bringing life back to something.
Yes.
You know, and of course, in your mind, you're like, no one else can do this but me.
Yep.
You know, I'm the hero today.
Yeah,
they were just going to throw this thing out, and even though I could have bought a new one for $2,500 and I got $5,000 into it, it's way better than any new one out there.
So true. So
true. I do it too much. That was one big start for me. Is when I was trying to get money to buy the shop out. I was flipping cars, and we all do that, and so that was a big part of my early years was buying something cheap and then fixing it and reselling it. And I tried to take that and convert that into the shop, and there's just no way. Like,
yeah,
it's like $1 per hour is like, oh my God, I didn't realize how much I was like, like how much time. And if I try to buy a car and then use shop time to fix it, to resell it, it's like, I wouldn't even break even. But of course, when you're doing it cash and you're doing it on the side and you're just, it definitely helped put a little money in the bank account at the time. But man, it's like looking back, it's like that was hard money earned, but it was so rewarding that I didn't even look at it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe a lot of guys get into a shop and that's where they get to. They just like so enamored by fixing stuff that they don't look at the business side of it. And then 2 years down the road, you're like, why am I in debt right now? I've been doing such a good job. I really enjoy what I'm doing. But without that business sense, it's like you never get out of that hole. And sometimes you get too deep. You can't dig yourself out.
It can get bad. I think that coupled with, the fear of not having some sort of money come in, like even to this day, like when I have slowness, and it always picks back up every single time. It's not like for some apparent reason, we trick ourselves into thinking like, oh, you have a slow day, all of your customers decided to go somewhere else. Like, I don't know why that is.
You too.
Yes. Like, and I talk to so many owners that think that, and it's like, that's not like, I have to constantly remind myself, because I don't do well at all when it's slow, like at all. Like I have to force myself to stay in a good mood. I have to think positive, because if not, I'll go into the house doom and gloom at the end of the day, because I'm just not, I've got to be busy. I'm a busybody. It's probably why I started doing social media, because apparently I wasn't busy enough running the shop. So I needed something else apparently. But that's what happens, is we trick ourselves into thinking it's going to get slow. Or it's, everybody leaves or whatever. And so we have that fear-based mentality. And so we want to just constantly have something to do. So we try to be everybody's hero. And then we make bad decisions because we're basing them off of fear. Making any decision based off emotion is not it's not a good thing to do. You don't want to make decisions based off of emotions, for sure, especially in business. Like it has to be black and white. And some people are not good at that. Is really all there is to it.
Yeah, everybody hates me now. I shouldn't have upped my labor rate. I knew it. Everybody knows now. Everyone's
Yep.
got like, yeah. You just, once you start
All
thinking of
those
it too,
thoughts, man. Yeah. Like
yeah.
it just goes down this rabbit hole. It's not a good thing. It's not a good
My,
place to be, but that's
my,
good.
I was gonna say my wife calls me Negative Nancy all the time because I do the same exact thing. On the
I
ride
mean,
home,
that,
on the ride home, we'll be talking. And I'm like, I knew that, so and so did this, and I can't believe it. Now they like, yeah. And I'm not like serious about it, but just the fact that I'm saying it is already bad enough,
yeah.
But it's like it's surface level kind of being negative about it, but at the same point, it's like, it doesn't need to be brought up at all, But it just
Yeah.
proves that the thought is there.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And it's like one of those things, like it helps now that I'm connected with a lot more shop owners because like I'll text them like, hey, how, are you busy? Are you slow? And they're like, oh, I'm super dead. And I'm like, oh, so am I. Like, okay, it's not just me. Like, it's not just my shop. It's back to school season. Of course it's slow like that. And
Well,
then the shops
you
that
got
are,
nice friends.
yeah, all the shops that are like very busy around me are always like the dirt cheap shops charging next to nothing.
Oh, you know
Doing,
exactly who the dirt. Yeah, you know who the cheap
uh-huh.
ones are.
They're
Yeah.
doing backyard mechanic work. Like they're the
Mm-hmm.
ones that I get when they screw it up. They're bringing it to me. So there's a lot of those places that are busy constantly. They never slow down. Booked out 4 or 5 weeks in a row. Like never ever any sooner than that. So yeah, it you just gotta be careful and don't stay there long. Like there's been moments throughout this process of business ownership where I was in like really bad places mentally and I've gotten better. I talk about this a lot on social media because it's actually a common question I get is like, what do you do when you're, in a toxic place or when your mindset's bad or you're having a bad day or whatever? And it's like, you have to force yourself out of it. First of all, you got to listen to positive stuff. You got to, like, what you read, what you listen to, all that stuff makes a huge difference. We just don't realize it when we're in that moment. And so we're taking in all this garbage that we think, is not garbage. And then we're also having like slow times at work or you're stressed out about the business or whatever. And then so all that stuff compiles and then it's a day turns into a week, turns into a month and then another month. And so you have to just self-talk yourself out of it and realize, okay, first of all, let me stop listening to this because it's trash. Let me start doing this because here's some positivity. Let me start talking to some positive people. And then you eventually get better at it and you don't stay in that place as long because you realize like, oh crap, I'm kind of in a slump. I need to fix this. I need to do something about it. And I think a lot of people get there and stay there. That's why you see a lot of these like really like angry shop owners that have been doing it for 20, 30 years. And they just hate everything, hate life, hate everything. And they've never gotten out of that like negative mindset.
And why we all have someone that we can relate to about that. That's so strange, No matter who you talk to, we all know that angry, smoking a cigarette. What do you need? Right? Answer the
Yep.
phone, just like you're talking about, like, yeah, or even if they answer the phone, you can't even get them on the
Yep.
damn phone, and like you finally do, and it's like you're inconveniencing them. It's like, sorry, like you could
100%.
just say no. Like, how did you get to that point? And I know what you mean when you get into that rut, and then before you know it, you're answering the phone like that, and you don't even realize it. And so
That's the
the one
scary
video,
part.
the one video I remember watching about that was laugh. Like, so before I answer the phone, I just make myself laugh, and then I answer the phone. Just
That's a
like
great idea.
a real quick little, like, just a little chuckle, and then pick up the phone. Hey, shifting gears, this is
Yeah.
Jimmy, and it's like it just changes the whole tenure of the conversation. And it's like those little tidbits is like crazy stuff that you don't even think. And just like you said, getting in that rut and being negative, and then you're just sitting in the office or you're working on a car and your mind's spinning, And maybe
Yep.
that's why we like working on cars, because it's our little, we're not even thinking about what we're doing. We're in our mind,
Yep.
we're going through some other heavy stuff while we're doing that. And
Yep.
it's so easy to get into that negative rut,
It
as you're
is.
doing that and you're alone. You're basically alone for 10 hours.
And like you said, the scariest part is you don't know it. Like you don't know you're in it or in that place. And unless you have someone close to you in your life that is honest with you enough to tell you, like you can stay there forever. And like that's why it's good to have great people around you. It makes the world of a difference for sure. And
As long as you'll listen to them.
that's the key too. You got to be it's funny because I've always felt as though I'm like a pretty open-minded person. And then I read the book Extreme Ownership, and it was like a slap across the face. And if you've never read it, I highly recommend it. It's such a good book. And it basically talks about you taking responsibility for literally everything in your life, not just like your business and whatnot. And he parallels like a lot of corporations that they've helped with the book and what he's teaching. So it's really good stories that go along with it. But like literally everything else in your life, because we can get into a mindset of complaining, not just about the business, but everything else out in the world. And it basically just trickles into this like big hole. Like you said, the guy that smoking a cigarette, he's angry about everything. Like not just you calling him, but he's angry that the car's leaking oil on his driveway, and the electric bill's due, and the gas went up, and like all this crazy stuff. And it's like, man, life is short.
A bunch of stuff that he has no control over.
Yes, 100%.
And on that, I think I know that book. I think because it rang a bell for me. And it was everything that's negative in your life, you can point a finger at yourself about. Mm-hmm. It was something along those lines, like everything that's going on that's wrong in your life, you can blame yourself for. You can 100% find a way of blaming yourself for everything that has gone wrong. So before you blame anybody else, blame yourself first. And I don't know if that was in that book but it was definitely something that I read. And it was like, that was an eye-opening one for me, is like, everything is my fault. And it wasn't like trying to like blame myself. It was just look inward. Like, what did you do to get to this position? And like, and I've been able to look back. It's like, oh, whether it is putting SOPs in place or vetting clients or having that tough conversation with an employee, a technician, is like everything happened because of something you did or didn't do. Like bottom line, it's your fault. And I think some people take that the wrong way, but
100%. Yeah. Like, well, and that's the problem is they're not willing to admit their faults. And you have to be willing to admit your faults if you want to grow and better yourself. Like, we're all far from perfect, and there ain't no perfect person out there. And so if you're not willing to look inward and realize that, then you're probably not willing to change and grow. Your ego's in the way, and that's scary, to be honest. But how many times have we seen it in the ASOG group or something else? And like, somebody posts something and everybody says the same exact thing. And every single response you see that person respond to the comment is them justifying or arguing what those people are saying. And it's like, come on, like when everybody in here saying it and you're trying to still argue, there's a common denominator here, my friend, and it ain't us. So
you want the truth, or do you want to hear what you want to hear?
Well, and that's the thing. I'm in a Facebook group with some friends, a messenger group, and we talk about it. Like, and I do this too. I always tell people like, all this stuff's for me as well. We usually post things for validation for things we've already decided we're going to do, or we've decided in our mind. We're not actually looking for help. We're looking for validation of our decision that we've already made in our head. And that's not the way you should go about it. You shouldn't be looking for validation. You should truly be open-minded of, hey, how can I make this better? How can I? And not everybody does that, but I feel like it's in our nature to automatically want validation for everything. It makes us feel good.
Yeah, especially if you're on. It's like the old coinage of like, if you got to ask, you can't afford it. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're just asking. You already know the answer, but you're just hoping just maybe, there's somebody that's going to side with you, and you're like, okay, I know it wasn't that bad, but by the time you're already asking on a social media platform, you already know what the answer is. And like you said, you're just looking for someone to either agree or disagree with you. Whatever it is, you already got your mind made up.
Yep. Yeah, it's true.
Most of the time, not every time, but yeah.
Yeah, the vast majority, you're 100% right. Like, and I don't know. Like, I get rando comments on a lot of my social media posts, goofy stuff about something like. I do a lot of tools, and somebody will say something like, "Oh, that's a trash tool," and I'm like, "Oh, well, how long did you own yours?" "Oh, well, I've never owned one." Like, well, then how do you know it's a trash tool? Like, you've never even put one in your hand. Like, well, you just want to throw your opinion out there, and it doesn't matter because you have no real life experience. Like, I don't know if people just like Like the internet has created a space where people can just say anything and everything, whatever they want. And there's no repercussions ever.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You nailed that one on the head. Exactly what that is.
It's just crazy to
That
me.
is exactly what's going on. And it's like the same when it goes into reviews. And it's like every shop you can look, they got 55-star reviews. It's like, really? And so you just pay people to get reviews. And it used to be a big thing, you know, it's like I wanted to have a good reputation. I wanted to get these 5-star reviews.
Yep.
And now by the time I've actually got enough that I'm proud of, it's like, are they even that big of a deal anymore? Like, who are these people that are putting reviews out anyway?
Yep.
And then who are the ones getting reviews at the other shops? And it's like you said with the same with the videos. Like I've done a few, you know, reels that have kind of taken off. And it's like the only reason why they take off is all the negative comments that go on them. It's like, whatever. Hate away. I don't care. Like,
Hey,
I got paid.
That's right. Good. What do they say? All feedback or all, what is it? I can't remember. All feedback's good feedback or all negative.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? I can't remember the exact saying. But,
yeah, I know what you're doing.
But yeah, everybody will get it. Yeah. That's what happens when you're doing podcasts like this. You think of something and you can't actually say it. Can't form a sentence. But yeah, it's wild, man. And I don't know. Like I always tell people, I'm like, there's a lot of stuff I disagree with on the internet. I just scroll past it. Like I'm not on there commenting on there are some things I'll comment on every now and again, but most of the time I'm just scrolling past, unless it's in the ASOG group and I just like harassing shop owners in there because it's just, I don't know. Some of the questions in there and some of the comments people make are just crazy to me. So, but I'm a challenger. That's my personality type. If you're familiar with, personalities or Enneagram or anything, I'm an 8 or a high D. So I automatically want to challenge everybody anyways, just to see if they believe in it enough to not back down. And so if they'll fight me back, like not fight me, but argue with me back and stand firm, then I'll respect them way more. If they just fall to the wayside, then I'm like, they're so wishy-washy that they don't believe anything. Essentially, that's how my mind typically works. So I usually just like challenging people just to kind of see where they fall.
That makes sense for the rebuttals you're doing on your Instagram page, because that's not something I just nope. I don't even have the time to like, I don't even care that you don't like the tool. I don't even want to know why you don't like the tool. Like, that's cool. I'm glad you don't like it. Move on.
And I've gotten better because I had the one guy that was leaving 1-star reviews on my page like every single weekend. He was going on creating new Google accounts every weekend and leaving me 1-star reviews. So he left like 7 or 8 1-stars. And I've always known like I should just let comments go. Like there's just like some innate thing built inside of me. Like when somebody is completely wrong about something, I feel like I have to just say something. And so I'm fighting that urge constantly, and I'm getting better. I'm far from perfect. And I feel like most people on the internet anyways are misunderstood. Like there's been several content creators that I've met in person that online, they seem like a jerk. They're not a jerk. They're just, because you get all that hate and stuff constantly, and you don't know until you start creating content, start putting yourself out there. Then you see like every video has hate. It starts to whittle at you, and you're just like, man, these people are annoying. So then you feel like you want to say something back. So I'm getting better at not responding, but I'm still far from perfect. I think eventually I'll just get to the point where I never respond, and I'll just let people do their thing. Because every single week it's like less and less and less and less. And so I don't know.
So these are you talking about 1-star reviews for your shop?
Yeah. So that's one thing people ask me a lot. Like, should they do the shop as if they want to do social media, should they use the shop name? Like, I still think so. Like in the moment when that guy was leaving me 1-star reviews, I was like, no, you definitely shouldn't do it. But I've gotten like 4 or 5 of his specifically removed already. And then before his, I've had like 3 or 4 removed. So I've had probably, 6 to 8 1-stars removed.
Are you getting 1-star reviews based on your content, not on your work of the shop?
Correct. Yeah. Just random people on the internet. Yeah. So I've and I know it'll happen. Like I feel like I could handle a 1-star review.
I couldn't let that go. Anytime I get a 1-star review, I'm like, I fight that thing tooth and nail. Like I cannot let that go.
That's my thing. Like if it's from a client and I deserved it, it's one thing.
Absolutely.
Like, I bend over backwards to make everybody happy as much as I humanly possibly can. And so all of my 1-star reviews have all been from social media, every single one of them. So I've only got like 3, I think left, 3 or 4. So I've been slowly getting them all removed. But yeah, just that. Then like most of them, one of them was like, this guy would rather make douchey TikToks than fix your car right. This guy loves Snap-on tools, blah, 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 blah. This guy would rather make videos, blah, blah. He doesn't care about your car. Like just stupid stuff. You see a lot of comments like that. The guy that kept leaving me 1-star reviews, the most recently that kept creating different accounts, he first started just leaving 1-stars and not saying anything. Then he came up with this like elaborate story, as if he was an actual customer. And then he kept doing that. And like my mom came in here and he made her cry and like all this stuff. Like just wild, man. I'm like, who has time to come up with a Google account? Like, you have to make an email. You have to make your Google account every time. So he was going on, not only was he going on creating new Google accounts, but then he'd log into all of them and like every single review. So every time he left a new review, he'd go back into all the other accounts and like his other reviews. So they all had like 7 thumbs up. Yeah. So, and it was like, at first I responded, then he kept doing it. So then I didn't respond at all. I'm like, okay, well, obviously this is egging him on to make more. So I'm just going to leave it. So for 2 weeks, I didn't respond at all. And he still kept leaving them. So finally I was like, screw this. So I posted them on social media. And this is the great part about building a community is my community went on there and reported a ton of them, and we got a bunch of them removed. And then they went on there and left like 10 or 15 reviews themselves, 5 stars, which almost negated his. And so that was the really cool part about it. And it was awesome. I have probably one of the best communities. I feel like that's one of the greatest things like about AS, like training and stuff. It's like the community is great. Yeah. Like we have such like, I feel like it's one of the coolest communities. We just don't, we underutilize it for sure. Because like we said, like you just get in this space where you're like, oh, it's me and no one else is struggling with this. And this is how you do it. And, just grind.
It's hard to ask for help. And I'm not one to not ask for help. And I don't know, when it comes to like transmission size stuff for me, like there's not a lot of people I can ask for help. So if I find, and there's a group on Facebook I'm a part of, and it's fantastic. I'll like, hey, I got this issue and everyone's there to help me. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't really have an issue with that when it comes to the tech stuff. I learned that a long time ago. Like as I've learned to fix cars and repair stuff, like you got to ask. Like you got to ask and you learn and you ask the right questions. Don't be a dummy. Don't ask, hey, I got a PO 171. What should I replace? Like that's not the question you ask. So there is a stupid question you can ask, right? But if you have an intelligent and you have data and hey, which way, why you can get a good answer. Yeah. I don't think we do that with shop ownership because we don't have that same grasp on it. Like how much do I sell my parts for? It's like, what do you mean how much do you sell your parts for? It's like, it's a stupid question, but it's the same thing. We're just ignorant to it. And we don't know like, well, where are you at now? Like, I don't know where I'm at now. I throw $20 on every part. Is that right? Like, is that good enough? Hey, I pay my techs X amount and my shop labor rate is this amount. Is that enough? Like, I can't even begin to tell you if that's enough. Like, and so, it's just, we're just so scared of feeling stupid because we've asked those stupid questions when it came to car repair, I'm sure you've been lit up online if you go on there and you're like, hey, I got this issue with this Honda I can't figure out. Like, hey, look, you little dummy, I'm not going to sit here and tell you exactly how to fix your car and make money. Like, and so we're so scared of that, for me anyway, that's where I'm at. Like, and so you get better at it. You're like, what? Screw it. I don't care what anybody thinks anymore.
You kind of have to, like, I feel like, and it's like we said from the beginning, like you don't know what you don't know. And there will be people in there willing to help you out. You just have to weed through all the sucky people.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I constantly, anytime there's somebody in there who like I can relate to where they're either new, like into ASOG, either they're new or they're a small shop or it's similar to mine. Like, they're like, hey, like I'm a 1-person shop owner. What should I be doing? I'm like super passionate about that because I feel like there's not like when you go to training events and any sort of training, it's almost never geared towards 1-person shop owners. And it's wild to me because I know we're not like, I don't want to stay as a 1-person shop. I want to grow and add on people. And I know that's the goal for a lot of the trainers and coaches and everything, but the training doesn't match that. And there's still so many 1-person shop owners. So there's just not a ton specifically geared towards people like us. So I'm always like first to jump on there and be like, yeah, hey, here's what I do. Here's where I went. Here's how I started. Here's what I've done, all that stuff. So I will absolutely go on there and help in addition to me giving other shop owners crap. So I do actually love being helpful.
That's interesting because that looking back, that is like how it feels. Like you don't have the funds, so you can't hire a coach.
Yep.
And then, like you said, everything is geared towards, okay, so what do your techs do? Like techs, I am the tech. Like,
Yep. Yeah. I mean,
and so
that's
you
how
got
it
like,
was. Yeah.
like what's your service advisor? How's he answer the phone? How she answer the phone? Like, I don't have a service advisor. Like, it's just me, And so you feel alienated, and then that
Yep.
just like puts you back in that negative place. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? And a lot of it is here's another word blank for you. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to say I own a business is just such a hard thing to wrap your mind around, but it's like the most important thing you have to wrap your mind around. I'm
Yeah.
no longer just an auto technician fixing cars for money. Like I am a business owner, and whether that is a one person shop or a multi shop owner with 30 employees, it's really kind of the same thing mentally.
Yeah.
You have to, otherwise you won't get to that point,
100%. Yeah. You have to get yourself out of that mindset. And, had I not, like I took one, I forget who it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Rick White class. It might've been a Cecil class. I don't remember. But anyways, like after the class was over, cause they were talking about, oh no, it wasn't. I'm sorry. It was a Chris Cloutier class. They were talking about implementing all these things. And I said, listen, I love all this stuff. I'm like, but I'm a one person shop owner. Like, I feel like I'm already stretched to the max as it is. I'm like, I feel like I can't implement any of these things. I don't even know. At that time, I had nothing to compare to. I had no numbers to compare to. I'm like, I told him, I'm like, I don't even know if my revenue a month is good. I don't know if it's bad. I don't know if it's good. I literally had no clue about anything. And so like he walked me through, asked me my numbers, and like we kind of went through everything. And that was nerve wracking because you're doing that in front of everybody in the room, talking about your numbers and everything. But it was freeing for me afterwards to be able to go through that and get some side by side comparisons. And it was great because I met another guy in that class that he was like, man, he's like, I'm a one person shop owner too. And he's like, I didn't even realize you could even do those numbers as a one person shop, because he was doing like half of what I was doing. And I'm like, wow. I said, I put all these changes in, but I had no idea. And we exchanged numbers, and we still text to this day, just like, hey man, how you doing? Where's your numbers at? Are you growing? And he's been growing ever since. And he's doing those numbers that I was doing back then now. And he didn't even think it was possible.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that's the coolest part about it. There's always someone doing better than you, but of course, there's always someone doing worse than you. Mm-hmm. And on our journey to continually learn, I think that's been another eye-opening thing for me, is like, there's still entry levels. There's still guys that are still in that rut that haven't learned the amount that we've all learned in the last years, 5 years, 10 years, however long it's been. And so there's still that refresher course we can take for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important. And it's hard too, because I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And I sit up here and talk like I do. And I have, and that gives you that imposter syndrome. Like, what am I telling anybody what to do for, like, and even still to this day, the texts come up and ask me in the middle of a diagnosis, like, what should I do next? Like, why are you asking me? Like,
I feel that way all the time. Like, I feel like every time I do like videos on Instagram and stuff, like I always say, like, listen, you guys, I don't want you to think I'm like talking from some elevated area. I'm still learning this stuff every day. This is just the stuff that I've learned and made mistakes on. And the only reason I know it is because I've screwed it all up in the process to get here.
Right.
And I'm still, and like, so I try to, what helps me, I found, is like, when I make a mistake that I constantly preach about, I go against my SOPs, and I'll do a video. I'm like, hey, I just screwed up and went against everything that I've been telling you guys not to do. And I'm just here to encourage you that it still happens to me, and I still slip sometimes, and I'm far from perfect. So just keep that in mind. Like, don't beat yourself up. Don't keep yourself down. Like, just get back up and get back to it. You just learn, you learn, and it's a learning experience every time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest learning, is being able to, in the moment, know that you screwed up.
Yeah.
Correct the course and then go back to it. Right.
Yep.
And that's like the turning point of like moving forward, like
it's huge.
And it's the same on a misdiagnosis on a vehicle. It's the same thing. Like, you're still going to get wrapped up in your head. You're still going to misdiagnose something, but you just got to go in there and say, look, I screwed up. You
Yeah.
know,
Just admit it.
I made the wrong call.
Yep.
You know, whoever the client, hey, look, I was wrong, and I've done that before. Like, well, you said it was this, and like I screwed up. Like,
Yeah.
but so we're not going to go that route anymore. We're going to go this route now, and that'll fix your problem. And then of course it's like, well, are you sure? It's like, yes, I told you I made a mistake, and now I'm going to redirect the course here, and now we're on the right track. You know,
Yep.
and you just got to give them a little laugh, and usually it's like just admitting that just establishes the trust. I feel like, of course,
Yeah.
there's some people out there that are be like, oh, that guy doesn't know what he's doing,
Yeah.
but like, I'm going to fix it. It's going to leave fixed. You know,
that's the key, right? Like, as long as at the end of the day you fix their problem, like, and you're right, some people will think that, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know, crazy people, I feel like, but
yeah, like you can't get away from them.
yeah, it is what it is. Like, and those are it's funny because we wrap so much into those people and they're so few. You know what I mean? The mass majority of people are understanding, they're nice, they care, you know, they do want you to succeed and all of that. And like, I would add too, like when you make a mistake, like I just talked about this, is in the early stages when you make mistakes, if you're not running your business appropriately and you don't have any money, it compounds on top of making the mistake because you don't have the money to fix it either. Yeah. So it's just like this huge thing. So once you figure out how to run the business and understand and learn your numbers, and I will again preach understand and learn your numbers forever. I'll never stop saying it because it was such a big eye-opening thing for me. And once you figure it out and understand where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to charge, and you're making proper money to run your business, then you have money in the bank. When you make a mistake, like just recently, I was test driving a customer's car. It was like a 17 Pilot, I think. And a trash truck was coming my way on the test drive. So I scooted over to the right and I looked down on the road for some apparent reason because there was like some sort of, I don't know, divot or something. So I was like, man, I don't want to run into that. Like, I don't want to suck myself down off into the ditch. So I was focused on that and didn't see the mailbox, and I clipped her mirror, and it was the lane watch mirror. Nice. And so, yeah, destroyed the camera, destroyed the mirror. You know, that was a nice expensive fix for me because I obviously bought her a new mirror. I had to go take it and get it aimed because I don't have the targets here yet. So I had to pay the dealership to aim it. So it was like over $600 for me to pay to get that fixed. But she was my first call. Called her and said, hey, you know, I'm just letting you know what happened. This is exactly what happened. I'm sorry. Don't worry. I'm going to pay for everything. You're not going to have to pay for anything. I will make sure it's all taken care of. And just explain the situation. And she was cool, thankfully. And like most people, like I said, the mass majority of people are going to be cool. There are going to be some sucky ones. You just got to push through those people, send them down the road.
And the one thing, I mean, that kind of encapsulates all this is everyone's so afraid of making a mistake.
Yeah.
So afraid of it. And that's the most pivotal and the best learning experience because, say, making a mistake on a wrong diagnosis, it gets you real creative and really lights the fire under you. Like, okay, now if I don't get this thing fixed by the end of this night, like I'm really not making any money. So that really puts the pressure on. And for me, like I need that. I need the pressure. Let's do this. It's time to figure this out. You buy an expensive part you didn't need. Well, now you got to get creative and figure out how to get your money back, right? Or reuse it for another vehicle, or say, hey, how do I market to get another vehicle in here so I can sell this part to that? Like it just gets you going to the point where you can get creative in those situations. And then also gets you trained to learn how to deal with that. Like, oh my God, I just wrecked this mirror. I mean, I've had an employee wreck. It was an F-150. We put a brand new transmission in it, rebuilt the whole front end, rebuilt the rear end. I mean, this is like a $9,000 ticket. This is a big job. Wow. He takes it on test drive. And it was a bunch. He looks down to move some stuff off the floorboard, which he should have done when he got in. Anyway, as he's looking out, he looks up, and the car in front of him is coming towards him. Oh. Front end collision totals the truck, like completely, like totaled. It's not like, oh, maybe we'll put a radiator in a bumper. It's like, no. He was going downhill. They were coming up. He swerved in the oncoming lane and totaled it. So, yeah, we were at fault. We had a $9,000 ticket on the line, and we just totaled this guy's truck. And it was his dad's truck. Like he was rebuilding his dad's truck, right? No. And it was just like, and I'm like a year into owning the shop. You know, I'm still making payments on the shop. It's like, what do I do right now? And it was like, I get the phone call like, hey, I just totaled the truck. I'm like, I'll be there in a minute. And I get up there, and it's like a freaking bomb went off in the middle of the road. It was like, oh my God. And he's, I've got my shirt on. He's got the shop shirt on. People are driving by. This is a small hometown. It's like, oh, this is like exactly what I need the first year owning a business, And I'm like, first thing I said, what do I do? Is like, well, first thing I need to do is call the owner. That's what I need to do right now. Like, there's no book you can open to tell you what to do. Like, I'm going to call him. Like,
yeah, I mean, you might as well get out of the way.
Someone's going to know his truck and see it. So I got to call him before anybody else does. So the first thing I did is call him, and he's like, oh man, is everybody okay? And I was like, and when he asked me if everyone's okay, I was like, oh wow, like this is bigger than just a bunch of stuff that can be replaced by money, Yep.
And that's the thing. If you don't have the money, that's where that problem comes into the play. It's crazy, man.
And I had a good insurance. Our insurance covered everything,
Yeah, that's awesome.
And he ended up taking the insurance and actually paid us for our time and our work. So he paid the bill. Got his money for the truck. So it all worked out in the end. But at the beginning, it's like, man, what do I do right now?
Yeah.
But now if that were to happen today, it's like, I know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm not like rattled by it. I'm like, well, that's part of business. Like I'm going to make some phone calls. My insurance is going to cover it. And I'm just grateful that everyone is okay. Because at the time I'm thinking, what about me? What about my business? What about my appearance? What about me, right? And I didn't even like think about like the people that could have been hurt, Yeah. And it's so and it's such a better place to be like, okay, all that stuff will be taken care of. Is everybody okay? Yeah.
Yeah. What actually matters. And I always say, like, it's not if a business makes a mistake, but when. The difference maker is how they handle the mistake. That's what tells you the difference between businesses, because ain't nobody gonna be perfect. We're all gonna make mistakes, no matter what it is, whether it's wrecking a car, hitting a mirror, whatever, something simple, or double charging somebody on a credit card machine or something, the most mundane, simple things that don't matter. You're gonna make a mistake at some point. How are you gonna handle it, and how are you gonna fix it to differentiate yourself from everyone else? Are you going to make it an inconvenience and get angry at yourself, which then portrays to the client, so then they think you're angry at them at your own mistake? Or are you going to just, you know what I mean? Because that's what happens sometimes, because we're so stressed out because we don't have the money in the bank. We've been running the business wrong. We thought we were making money and we're not. Now we just blew up this engine or whatever it may be. And it turns into this whole big thing. And then so just calm down. That's the key,
step one is calm down. And that's what teaches you when people come in and they're irate and they're in a bad place because their car just broke down. And you're like, what did I do wrong? Why is this? And that was my biggest problem. And like the first, even till now, like they come in irate and my first thought is like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
But I've been through enough to the point where I realize like, no. I've got good people here. We have good systems in place. Like we are keeping stuff on par. If this person's irate or upset, this is their problem.
Yep.
It's nothing I did. And even if it was, there's no reason to get upset about it. It's just a car. You know what I mean? Like, what are you upset about? And so the step one is like, I walk in there like, okay, before you keep yelling, how much is it going to take for you to walk away? And they're like, what? I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, how do we resolve this so I don't spend any more time? Because I'm not going to get yelled at anymore today. We're not doing that. So what do you need to leave? That's where we're at right now. I'm not conversating with you.
A lot of those times, a lot of those people can't be reasoned with, because they're basing everything off emotion. And you don't ever know what somebody has going on in their life, and they're projecting it typically on everybody else. And so it's not worth it. And you definitely can't take it personal, which is hard. Like it's hard not to take it personal. I just talked about this in the mastermind group. Is like, I had a client, she brought her vehicle to me. I priced it out. And I forgot, I shouldn't forget this, but my estimates don't break down parts and labor. It's a total job cost. So here in Ohio, we don't have to break everything down. And so it's just total job cost. So she kept asking me what the breakdown was, but she was asking me in a way I didn't understand. Well, her dad used to be a mechanic for like 30 years or something like that. So he ends up calling me. And like your first instinct is to be on the defensive. Like now I have to defend myself to this mechanic for 30 years. But I calmed, like before I got, elevated, I'm like, he knows, he's been in the business. And like, he's like, well, how much is the exhaust? That's what they were trying to figure out, is how much I was charging for the exhaust. And I told him, and he was like, oh, well, just so you know, you can buy that exhaust on Amazon for $100. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, absolutely. I said, but I'm not buying it from Amazon. And I said, I'm not warranting it on Amazon. And Amazon's not giving you a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty. He's like, oh yeah. And I said, you understand, right? I said, you've been in the business had been in the business for 30 years. I'm like, we have our markup as margins. He's like, oh yeah, I know. He said, I was just letting you know. I know he wasn't letting me know. I understand,
Right.
but I don't think he expected that to be my response. And I just basically flipped it onto him because I was able to stay calm. Like at first I elevated. I'm like, all right, just relax. Like you're not doing anything wrong. You're making money. You're running a business. But that is our first instinct, I feel like, in a lot of. And in the beginning of the business, that was horrible for me. That's why I actually, I don't know if you saw that video, but the video from the guy that I'm paying for ASTE, his training, that when I saw his video, like that's how it was so much for me early on in the business. And like,
I didn't. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah, he was at like a customer's house, and he was there to do something else, and that he had done a radiator fan in another car previously, and it was only $70, which was cheap as it was. But then he was doing an alternator on a Toyota Camry, and the customer was like, "Well, you put this radiator fan, and that was way harder than this alternator for $70. So shouldn't this be less?" And like me, in my mind, like in the early stages of my business, I would have automatically been on the defensive and been like, well, I got to pay the bills, and like just said stupid stuff that would have turned into a bad situation. Mm-hmm. And so after watching that video, I'm like, I can so relate. He didn't get irate. Like seems like a super laid back dude, but he charged him less I don't know what he ended up charging him, but he basically agreed with the customer and charged him whatever he was charging him, which was already cheap to begin with. And I was like, man, but I can relate to that because I know what that's like in the beginning of the business. You don't know how to talk to people and show them the value of what you're providing. And so that's why, because I needed that and I had no idea. Now I've learned. I've just gotten better and better and better and still learning every day. That's why I continue to go to the training, because I know I still have a lot to learn and a lot to grow, because I'm far from perfect, as we've been talking about through this whole time.
Yeah, that's... And it starts out as you not knowing anything. We all start from not knowing anything. And so you start billing out clients, owning the shop, and they start calling you out on your price. And you're like, yeah, you're right. I really don't know anything. And it's like, we don't want to end up as that dude smoking a cigarette, all mad, ripping people off. Like, I don't want to think this guy thinks I'm ripping him off. And then you just do this quick calculation in your mind. You're like, yeah, I guess I could lower that if that makes him happy. And and as long as the client's happy, then everybody's good. And you totally forget to put the equation of like your quality service into play, And maybe it does take a few years for you to build enough confidence to know that you're worth. But I think anybody in this field that has the gauntlet to open a shop and start working on cars, dude, you have the quality behind you to charge what you need to charge. If you just put out that kind of financial leverage on yourself, and you're going to put that much responsibility on your shoulders, you're worth it. You know what I mean? Like even if you're a mobile guy, open a shop, whatever, you're working at a dealership, you're working at an independent shop. Like if you show up to work every day when you're supposed to, and you got all the tools required to get the job done, and you're willing to take on that job and fix and see it to the end, dude, you're worth whatever you think you need to be charging or to be paid, And that's how I tell my guys too. Like, dude, the more training you do, the more tools you get, like, let's always sit down and chat. Let's always talk about what you need to be compensated for. Of course, within reason.
Right.
We all want to make, $1 million a year, right? But like within reason, like let's talk about it. Like if you ever ask me for a raise, it's never going to be no. It's always going to be like, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you want to get. Let's talk about how to get there. Because that's how I wanted, and I never had that. I got paid checks that I had to wait 2 weeks to cash. Like, hey, don't cash this on Friday. Like, what do you mean don't cash it? I got to pay rent. Yeah, it's not going to clear till next Friday. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And it's like, and I still went to work on Monday. Like, I still showed up 8:00 on Monday, and like, let's keep going. Like, obviously you need more money, so let's fix more cars. And that was just my mindset. Like, just keep pushing against the grain until hopefully it lays down the other way, And it never did. But, it's like you just got to have that tenacity to keep going after it. And I think if you in this industry and you have that, then you need to be compensated for it,
Absolutely. All that was extremely well said. I mean, and 100% they're worth it. And honestly, I feel like a lot of times, like we think, we're worth a certain amount, and it's almost always more. You're almost always worth more than what you think you are. It's just getting there and getting that confidence built up to know that you are, because yeah, I think that's the thing. We're so terrified of somebody going online and saying, oh, this shop's a ripoff, or, oh, they charged me this and the part only cost you that. Cooler heads prevail. You respond with a professional response and let people know, like, everybody, everywhere you go, everybody's making money on the product that they're selling you. Apple doesn't sell all of the parts inside of their iPhones at cost. They're making money at all of the, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people just don't know. They have no idea. And for some apparent reason, because you can buy all the parts for your car over the counter pretty much, people just assume that that's what it should cost. And they have no idea what it goes into actually running a business and paying overhead and payroll tax, all the stuff.
Right.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
absolutely. I still personally have the issue with giving my time away. I mean, even though I talk about it, and it's easier with technicians because I know their worth. I know how hard it took and how much I had to learn to, one, get them in the door, and then to two, keep them here and like have a positive culture and do the things I need to do to be a good leader and a good boss. Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't let their time is not free. No way. Like anything they do, I make sure it goes on, and I tell them, like, sometimes they'll do a little extra thing here. Hey, I saw this was loose, so I tighten it, or hey, this was leaking, so I clean it up. I'm like, did you write it down on the tech sheet? Did you let the office know? No, you need to do that. Everything you see and that you want to put your hands on is worth money. And not for me, but for you, because I pay you guys productivity bonuses. So anything you do, we need to know about it so we can charge the client. And not to say like I'm gonna like squeeze every penny at every customer that comes through the door,
Right.
but it's like I want to know exactly what you're doing all day so I can compensate you. I'll take it off the client's bill, but I want to make sure you're paid for it, like 100%. And my issue is I'll come to a tough diag or a repair that's gone sideways, and it's like, well, I'll just step in and do it myself, But I'd rather me eat it than them eat it. Like I'm not having them go out and take care of something real quick when I can go do it myself. And if if the shop's not going to make money on it, I'll just go do it myself. And that's probably my problem right now that I got to work on. But, it's easier that way. And it's easy to see the numbers and say, okay, so I need to charge this much because that's what pays him that much. I can't do that with myself. Like if I looked at myself, it's like, well, I could probably survive on this much, so we'll just charge that. It's tough.
I think part of it on the tech side is most techs are not, because most bosses, most owners are not that way. Unfortunately, they're so used to being taken advantage of and doing all that stuff for free and never getting paid for it, and just expecting it. I know that's how it was for me most of my career, more at the dealership than anywhere else. And again, I always have to say this. I'm not against dealerships. I'm not against flat rate. I worked flat rate. I made a ton of money on flat rate, but it does create a greedy type of mindset, and you are expected to do a ton of things for free at a lot of dealerships, especially in my experience. And so that's probably, the mindset of a lot of techs is like, oh, well, the advisor's always saying like, oh, I'll get you on the next one. I'll get you on the next one. Or, oh, hey, can you take care of this for me? Or whatever. And you don't get paid for it. Or, I only got a half-hour diag on that car instead of an hour. Like that was the story of my life for 7 years. So it can be hard to get out of that for sure.
Yeah, the next one never comes.
Never comes. Never ever comes. And there's always a more next ones. Oh, I'll get you on the next one. And there's always another problem car. So yeah, it's frustrating for sure if you're in a place like that. I mean, that's why I left that world and started my own. I got so frustrated, and it was not a good way to start a business, but thankfully I've been able to make it work.
Up from there.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, cool, man. This has been good. This has been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great. I was kind of worried because I was like, this is going to be interesting because we don't know each other. So it was just a little different, and it worked out great. So you just never know. Because
what's that?
I was just going to say, because I've recorded with Jeff, I've recorded with Lucas and David several times, and I recorded with Brian and Kim, and I know all of them on some sort of level. So, and I've only seen you on Facebook. So,
I'm like where you are. I didn't know this whole group, and I've been doing a radio show here locally in town.
Oh, cool.
So I'm on an AM station, so I do a Gearhead radio, and I've been doing that for a couple of years. And we do a magazine article in our monthly magazine for
Oh,
the two
cool.
local cities. So my wife writes that up every month. And so we've been pushing and we've been trying to do industry nights. So once a month, we'll pull all the shops from the area together and have a little get
Oh,
together.
cool.
And
That's
so
awesome.
we've been doing that for a while, but this is all new, like the Facebook group and the ASOG. Like this is new for me this year. And
Oh, wow.
I opened up in 2017 is when I bought the shop.
Okay.
So I was definitely on my own island for a very long time. And I'm like,
Yeah, no doubt.
whoa, this
Gosh.
is like awesome, dude. Like everybody's on the same page, like right on. So
Yep.
I'm trying to get out there, but of course, we're all busy. So it's hard to,
Yep.
but I'm looking forward to next week for sure.
Oh, it's going to be awesome, man.
It's going to be nice to like meet everybody and like
yes.
actually meet
wild.
everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually get to see them in person and talk to them. And it ends up just being a week full of like war stories and just, normal stuff. It's so fun. I always enjoy it every year.
Nice.
Like AST is the one event I won't miss. So it's definitely my favorite. Yep.
Well,
absolutely.
cool, man. I look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah. You as well, man.
I know it's getting late over there, so I'll let you get going.
Yeah, no worries. I appreciate the time. I appreciate you having me on. So it was a great chat.
Man. Cool. Then what's that?
I was just going to say, I'll stay on because David always tells me if I don't stay on, you have to make sure this like actually uploads.
Yeah, exactly. That's my first time. So Lucas is like, just make sure he doesn't log out too soon. I'm like,
yep.
All right.
Yep. Not my first rodeo. So I'm like, I'll make sure that I don't log out because I know it has to upload or whatever.
Right. Cool. Thanks, Chris.
Awesome, man. Yep. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
See ya.